What's going on, guys? Welcome back to NolanTCG, and we are back here today with another deck profile, and this time it is for Kozmo. So with the format coming to a close, it's pretty well defined, so stuff that is a bit more anti-meta can kind of start to take shape, and like you have a defined kind of format to go at. And I feel as though Kozmo is like a good option that you can definitely look at the moment, given the fact that like stuff like Dark Destroyer can't be targeted and things like that make this deck pretty difficult to out. Also, with the new pot spell, I definitely wanted to do a profile for this because it does definitely help this deck a lot. But before we do get started on this profile, please remember to drop down below and hit that subscribe button if you are new here, because we are always happy to have new people. And let's get on into the deck profile. Okay, so starting us off, we have the card that is so difficult to out, and that is 3 copies of Dark Destroyer. No Targeto. Card good. Pop on summon as well. Just make sure that like this card doesn't resolve until new chain. So be careful of that. After that, we've got more cards that can't be targeted and your general life point gainer. That is 2 copies of Kozmo Forerunner. This deck can, as time goes on, as it is a grind deck, pay a lot of life points. So having a Forerunner established on board can become a little bit important in the long-term game. After that, we've got 2 copies of the Spell and Trap Pop in 2 copies of Kozmo Sliprider. You can definitely look at bumping this up to 3. It does make your extra deck a lot more live as well when you're playing this card at 3. But I felt as though 2 is correct at the moment, just because you want to have a lot of room for like traps and stuff in this version of Control Kozmo. After that, we have our Spell and Trap Negation, and that is 2 copies. Sorry, not Spell and Trap Negation, Monster Effect Negation. That's what this is. In 2 copies of Dark Lady, just pay 1,000, negate the activation, destroy the monster. Good card. Also can help you float into big ships. Pushes the OTK. Then we have the OTK if it can just freely attack directly, and that is 3 copies of Kozmo Farm Girl. Attack direct, search, drop, big damage, game. After that, we are playing 2 copies of some recursion in Kozmo Strawman. And then after that, of course, 3 copies of your end phase Searcher in 3 copies of Kozmo Tin Can. In testing, I got really annoyed. I really don't like Dueling Book at the best of times, but when I was testing this on Dueling Book, for some reason this would always resolve and hit Dark Destroyer. And I don't know why. Like, every single time I resolved this card, it hit Dark Destroyer. And I was like, this is a good card to hit, but Dueling Book's broken. And I don't like it. After that, we've got, of course, into the spells, 3 copies of Kozmo Town. This does conflict with the spell, but of course, like the draw spell. But it doesn't really matter. Like, you just want to see consistency as much as you can. The draw spell gives you that consistency. Kozmo Town is more used to fix bad hands, so you want to use Kozmo Town in the late game. In the early game, the prosperity will get you into everything that you play. Also, this can still add back banished, so it's still a very good card. After that, we have, of course, 1 copy of Terraforming to search the Kozmo Town. Then we have some power 1-offs in 1 Monster Reborn, 1 E-Telly, and 1 1-for-1. So we have Bring Back the Stuff that goes to grave from Tin Can, Summons your Farm Girl, and then we have Summon your Tin Can. Then after that, rounding out our spell lineup, is 3 copies of the Pot of Prosperity. Card good. Let you choose top card from deck, and hopefully that fixes your hand. Something else that this deck does have issues with, I'm sure if you've played Kozmo before you know, but like having all pilots and no ships, or all ships and no pilots is pretty rough. Actually, having all pilots probably isn't that bad, because your Tin Can can at least kind of resolve. But yeah, having all ships, bad. This hopefully fix. Then we get into our traps. So these can be switched for like hand traps if you do want to play like a blind second build. But we are playing like a go first control build, so that of course includes 3 copies of Trap Trick, just gets you access to your entire trap lineup. 3 copies, I think I said 2 copies of Trap Trick as well, but 3 copies of Cosmojo, gets you that pop, banish, good card. Then we have, of course, also this doesn't target, keep that in mind. This card doesn't target for your Dragoon. 3 copies of another card that doesn't target in Ice Dragon's Prison. Again, a Dragoon out. Outs a lot of stuff in the format, so like overall, you kind of just have to play this card in the main deck if you're playing control builds of anything at the moment, so 3 Ice Dragon's Prison is great. Then we have 2 copies of D-Barrier. This can switch for anything you like. I just felt as though against Virtual World, this card is very good. Also, you can just call Ritual against Drytron, so also good. Yeah, overall, it's a good card in the format. Does kind of lose to Link decks. Salad's a big thing at my locals, so this will like definitely not be playable against that. I guess you can call XCs and stop them from hitting like Dweller or something. But hey, card's good against most of the stuff that people would normally play in the format. Then rounding out this main deck, we of course have 2 copies of Back to the Front. You do want to play more control, so like the 3 copies of Back to the Front isn't necessary. It is something you can consider though if you want to like play maybe 3 copies of Back to the Front and cut your 2 dimensional barriers, maybe sub one out for like a power 1 of. But yeah, at the moment we're playing the 2. Typically one gets banished off your trap trick anyway and you set the other. Yeah, overall, cards are very important for the deck. We're playing this over Call of the Haunted because it's not a continuous trap, and Call of the Haunted can't be searched with trap trick. This can. Okay, now we get into the extra deck, and of course we have the Cyber Dragon package in a copy of Nova and Infinity. You can definitely consider, like I'm not playing a Macabre in here, you can definitely consider bumping your Nova to 2 and then playing the Macabre on top of that. That is probably like a good way to play. Overall, the extra deck in here isn't really super important, so you can change it to any way you like. I've ultimately just gone with a lot of like Xyz plays to try and get you into a Zeus to swing momentum back to you, so that's what I've gone with. A part of that does include 1 copy of Constellar Pleiades, gets you that free bounce. Then we get into kind of the Zeus packages in 1 copy of Assembled Nightingale, so you can go into this off 2 tin cans. Then we have 1 copy of Fortune Tune that you can go into off of 2 of the Farm Girls. Then we get into a rank 8, because like typically having double Dark Destroy will be the most common way you're going to get into an Xyz. We have a negate in that case in the 1 copy of Hope Harbinger. Then we go into a Galaxio Cypher, Full Armor Photon, and Cypher Blade Dragon package. This just stacks up as many Xyz as possible. It's also very big, so you can stack up as many for your Zeus plays. So we're playing 2 copies of Zeus. Then we get into our Link monsters, and of course it is 1 copy of Link Karibo and 1 copy of Anima. These are typically what you will make off your tin cans. So the Anima, if they have bad zone placements, you can just slap it down and get rid of a problem card. Link Karibo just kind of transitions you to kind of stop a bit of damage. Then of course we have 1 copy of IP Masquerena and 1 copy of Nightmare Unicorn to round out the extra deck lineup. I never make these, so definitely probably cut them. But that will wrap us up here for the deck profile for this one. So as always, if you do have any recommendations or things you would change, make sure to comment them down below. If you are playing again, like I said, a blind second version of this build, you can definitely change your hand trap lineup in for the trap lineup. Whatever you really feel comfortable with. I feel as though Cosmojo is pretty important in the deck, so I wouldn't cut that. But I just feel like this deck is better as like a go first control kind of build, simply because you can summon the Dark Destroyer and everything on your opponent's turn. Helps you with that control aspect a lot, getting like the free pops of spell trap cards or monsters. And as always, I've been Ben from NolanTCG, and have a good afternoon, everybody.